So when I was a sophomore in high school, I had this teacher who would only let the students in her class use the restroom one time per semester. Well, one day I raised my hand and I was like, excuse me, I don't remember her name, can I please use the restroom? And she was like, no you can't because you've already used the restroom in my class this semester. Well, excuse me, you can't dictate my bladder. So I'm like all frustrated and I started secretly texting my mom because I wasn't allowed to use my phone in class. And I was like, Mom, I'm sitting in class right now, my teacher won't let me use the restroom. And she was like, I'll take care of it for you. And I was like, okay. So like 5 minutes goes by and all of a sudden my teacher's phone starts ringing and she walks up to it and answers it and she's like, hello? Yeah. Okay, thank you. And then she walks up to me like so angry and she like slams the pass on my desk and she was like, since you have to go that bad. And I was like, yeah, I really do, thanks. And I got up and left. I didn't even have to go to the bathroom. It was just the principle of it. I just roamed the halls.
This is a story of the time that I caught my neighbor's mom talking smack about me. So I don't know about you guys, but every single Wednesday in my middle school, we would have a bagel sale. And some people's parents would come in to help out. And my neighbor's mom was one of those parents. And I had a best friend at the time whose mom would also work at the bagel sales. But this best friend of mine, her mom never let us hang out with each other because she felt that I was a bad influence on her. When in reality, it was the complete opposite. She was the one that snuck the boys in her house, if you guys remember that story time, where they peed in a flower pot. So basically her mom wouldn't let us hang out. And sometimes my friend would go with her mom in the morning, basically as a ride to school, and to help out with the bagels too. And one day when she went in with her mom, my neighbor's mom also was there too. So my friend starts eavesdropping into their conversation, and my friend's mom brings me up and says how much of a bad kid I am and a bad influence. And my neighbor's mom was like, oh wow, that's my neighbor, like we always suspected something bad about her, our whole entire neighborhood knows this about her, basically making stuff up about me. So then I go home crying, tell my mom. Part 2 of catching my neighbor's mom talking smack about me. So my best friend tells me all these things that my neighbor was saying about me, obviously. And I got really upset, so I went home and I just started to cry. Because for some reason I felt like when I was younger, every one of my friends' parents hated me. And I never really knew why. I was always the type of person to like let my friends do whatever they want and encourage them in doing whatever they want, whether that's breaking the rules or following the rules. So I mean, I guess that could be something, but I'm just being a supportive friend, like... Sorry, I got off topic. So when I told my mom, she was like, okay, come with me, I'm gonna knock on her door. And I was like, heck no, I do not feel like dealing with this. Mom, you deal with it. So she calls her up on the phone, puts her on speakerphone, confronts her about the situation, and this lady starts going on about how she loves me like I'm her own child, saying that I was never a bad influence on her daughter, and that she actually wanted me to hang out with her daughter more. Like, that's not what she was saying at bagel sale.
This boy lied about his age just to date me. Story time. So back when my cute self was a senior in high school, there was this new girl that came to our school. Long story short, me and her ended up becoming super close. I went to her house, spent the night. Her family loved me. I mean, why wouldn't they? Anyways, she had a brother. We're gonna call him Binky. Me and Binky got pretty close. Now I want you guys to keep in mind, Binky didn't go to my school because their parents were divorced. So the sister who I was friends with lived with her mom, and Binky lived with his dad who lived in another city. But sometimes Binky would go to his mom's house, which is how I met him. Now that we got that out of the way, as me and Binky were getting closer, one day he asked me, hey, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I just turned 17. How about you? He told me, oh, I'm 17 too, but my 18th birthday is coming up. After a while, me and him eventually started dating. Then one day, I ran into his cousin who happened to go to my school. The rest of this story is crazy. This boy lied about his age just to date me. Story time. So I ran into his cousin who just so happened to go to the same school as me. What a small world. Anyways, we start having a conversation and she asked me, oh my God, are you dating Binky? And I was like, oh, how do you know that? Because at the time, I didn't know that she was his cousin. And he didn't go to the same school as me. So I didn't know how she would have known that. And then she tells me, oh, that's my cousin. As we're talking, she says, oh, are you gonna go to his birthday party? And I'm like, no, he actually didn't tell me he was having a birthday party. Weird. And she's like, yeah, that's really weird because it's like coming up next week. And I'm just sitting here like, well, maybe he'll tell me. He probably just had a lot on his mind. And then she says, I can't believe he's gonna be 16 already. Time flies. We're gonna throw him a sweet 16 party. After she says that, I just look at her like, you mean 18, right? Like, you said 16. I think you meant 18. Sorry, there has to be a part 3. This boy lied about his age just to date me. Story time. Part 3. So his cousin starts talking about I can't believe he's gonna be 16. And I look at her thinking I'm tripping. Like, you said 18, right? Like, you didn't mean 16, you meant 18. And then she's like, no, I meant 16. So that's when I found out he's actually 16 or about to be 16. So I was 17 dating a 15-year-old. And I know a lot of you were like, oh my God, it's not really that much of an age gap. Listen, the fact that he lied about it is bad enough for me. Secondly, I would have been 18 and he still would have been 16, turning 17. But that's a little weird for me and I didn't want to catch a case. That's why I wasn't looking for a younger boy. After I find out this new information, of course I tell my best friends and they start hyping me up. Break up with him, which is what I did. I sent him this huge paragraph. I kind of went off. Of course, he replied to my paragraph saying, I'm sorry,